Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Terror, Season 1, Episode 1. It's called Go for Broke. We will start spoiler free, because this is a pilot, it's a premiere, it's the first episode. So we'll give you a warning somewhere in the middle before we actually get into the spoilers of the episode. But before that, we'll try and give you some spoiler free impressions, and, is it worth checking out, that kind of thing. This is AMC's new show. Relatively big budget from the looks of it, just from watching the first episode here. It's set in 1840 something, 1840s, and forgive me for not remembering the exact digit. And it is these two ships that, and at least this part's based on a true story, where they were trying to find the passage, the Northwest Passage, through the Arctic sort of region, as the sea, the ocean, and I assume it's been done since then, but at least back then, with the cutting edge technology of the 1840s, this was their big attempt, but both ships went missing. I assume that's where the true story ends, and everything else that we see is a complete, just fictionalized
I
story.
believe the ships were found at a later date.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, everyone was dead, signs of cannibalism, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, nice and grisly.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, I mean, the show does say based on true events, but at the very least, the book that it's based on, it's always been billed, I think, as, it's a fictionalized version of, like, this true mystery. Like, so someone took the mystery and went, okay, what if this happened? And obviously there's some, obvious elements that are completely fictional, such as a potential supernatural entity of some kind that may or may not be involved. Not a lot of that in the first episode, though. That was just the premise. That was from the book description we had when we were talking about when this was announced. But there's some small hints of things. And the episode is, this is the sort of, there's captains on both ships, but there's one who's higher up than the other one. Jared Harris plays the sort of the second captain of the ship that's called the Terror. The Erebus is the other ship, the first ship. And so it's interesting it's called after that ship. It's also a cooler name, and it also is a bit of a double meaning because
I think that's probably why they called it, to be honest. More so than picking between the ships. It's just like that's a better name. Let's go with that one.
Also, though, I think it's just it fits the, because I assume it'll become like, whatever's hunting them with the monster, or the supernatural entity, whatever it is. I'm sure that'll,
That'll be the Terror.
The Terror, yeah.
Yeah, it's the double meaning. It's pretty clear.
So that's the premise of the show. So I will ask the question that I do in first episodes. Always curious as to the answer. Sometimes I can call it what you're going to say to me.
You're not so certain.
And I'm not sure on this one. I'm actually not sure if you're going to lean more positive or negative. So, with great curiosity, I ask: did you enjoy the first episode of The Terror?
It's funny because I'm not so sure how you're going to lean on it either. Yeah. It's not bad. I don't love it, but there's promise. What about you?
I'm milking the pause.
Okay.
I'm milking it.
Yeah, you really are.
No, I also think there's potential. I was a little concerned early on. I was like, oh, just going to be stuffy old men in rooms chatting.
And there is a lot of that.
There is a lot, but I was actually surprised with how much of it actually. It didn't feel like it was waffling. It felt like it was doing things with the characters. Like Jared Harris's character, Crozier, or I'll just call him Francis. He, like, quite early on, it's like he's mentioning how, okay, so the captain and he's second in command are coming over from the Erebus over to our ship for dinner tonight, and he's complaining, that asshole's going to, like, tell this story that he's told 100 times. I'm going to want to kill myself with a fork by the time he gets to that part of the story. And then I laughed really hard because it cuts to the dinner scene at one point, and again, the camera works quite inventive here at places, because this dinner scene, it starts off with just this 360 shot. It's the camera's in the middle of the table, and it starts off with the guy telling the story. The captain's next to him, and the other captain, Sir John Franklin, and the camera just spins around as he's telling this story. So he's just talking the entire time, this one guy, and it's panning around, and everyone else is just listening. And very dead last, right before we get back to the captain, Sir John, we get to Francis, and he just looks like he wants to jump off the ship, and I did let out a laugh. So I was like, okay, right, we're getting what the dynamics between the characters are here. I'm getting it.
I get you.
Do you know what I'll give it points for? I'll give it points for, despite the fact that there's only one essential thing that kind of hints that there's some sort of thing that's going to be there coming for them, is that I think it has a good bit of atmosphere anyway, just purely in a survival sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. I think atmosphere is the thing that's got going most of all.
Yeah, because they're in a really interesting location. Of course, they're going through. It starts off and it's just all the little broken up bits of ice, but as we go through the episode, they're getting deeper and deeper into the ice. And this first episode is kind of the debate of should we continue this way or do something else that's safer. And it's a lot of it's about the different attitudes and how Jared Harris is kind of the more collected character who's trying to let's do this smart, let's do this safer, and the others are like, no, we're going to be heroes, we're going to be legends because we did this first. So it's about hubris more than anything else.
It is.
And that's kind of that. So I appreciated the episode despite the fact that we're only just getting to the meat essentially, because we kind of just end the first one. No spoilers yet, but we just kind of end the first one. Okay, now we're in the shit. And I appreciate that it still kind of told a character story. Like, going into this, I'm like, okay, there's people who should feel guilty about this because they made some choices that they shouldn't have made. And I'll be interested to see how that plays out. So I think it clearly defined a lot of that stuff fairly well. And when creepy stuff did happen, it was sufficiently kind of creepy. I was getting kind of vibes, and I know this is based on a novel, and I'm curious as to when the novel was written, because it was giving me vibes of memories of reading Dracula. Like, I can almost imagine this is written in journal form in first person. Like, oh, today in the ship, and the men are getting scared.
Yeah,
and,
no, I can see what you're saying.
Today there was one crew member got sick and might be scurvy. Like, I can almost imagine reading the pages of a book. I don't know if the actual novel for this was written like that, but I'm getting those kind of
I'm with you. I can see it like that.
And it does look pretty good.
It does. There was, I think, one time in the episode where I went, "Ooh, that didn't look too great."
But given that almost every single shot when they're out in the deck of the ship is an effect shot because they're surrounded by ice and icy water and whatnot, I have to give them credit.
Like I said, it was once in the whole episode, so it's hard to complain.
And it's a deep sea diving scene, and I love old school deep sea diving suits.
Do you?
Yeah, there's just something about them. They've got this kind of, I don't know, but back when getting into the sea was kind of seen as equal, well, not equal because they wouldn't even have thought of doing it yet, but it's almost like an astronaut going to the moon. It's that adventurous going under the water in this big clunky helmet and all the rest of it. And that was where I thought, oh, maybe the visual's going to tank here because it's really hard to do underwater stuff well, especially on a TV show. And I have to admit, it looked pretty good. Like I thought they nailed kind of the right kind of lighting for it.
I don't know. It was the underwater bits that I had one real problem with. The underwater, the ice specifically underwater, just it didn't feel quite right to me.
I honestly didn't notice anything wrong with it myself, but it was more just. I expect when you go underwater to have a certain amount of darkness and stuff, and this kind of played with the light that was coming from above. It had a nice tint to it because it was all the icy, cold water. And there was some good atmospheric stuff down there because it felt scary when he was down there.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, at this point, all we're really dealing with is pure survival. Okay, what do we need to do to survive? Because we're out in these cold, treacherous conditions.
Oh, hang on, we're stuck on some ice. What do we do?
Yeah, and they're talking about, this is going to take X number of months. We're going to be out at sea for this long, and it's okay, this is a challenge. So no, I think there's I'm pretty positive on it overall. I do think. It's not as great as I can see it becoming, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely not steaming out the gate, is it? It's pretty slow. It's
a slow burn.
Setting things up. Which is not necessarily bad. It's only bad if it doesn't develop.
Yeah, and so far it did feel like things moved forward. I felt like I got a complete little character sort of set up story between the two captains, if no one else.
Yeah.
There's a couple of quick little flashbacks at one point just to kind of set them up, and I think when you get towards the end, and I think you really understand, at least from those two captains, who those people are. There's a doctor's assistant we kind of get to know as well. He's kind of maybe our other main character, and then James Fitzjames is.
You're always going to say his full name, aren't you?
Yeah, because it sounds stupid. If your last name is Fitzjames, you don't name your son James.
I agree. That is a dick move.
But hey, so we get to know him as well. He's kind of the second in command to Sir John. So that's the setup of the show, and kind of that's about it. Like I say, there's one hint of something else happening, but I'm getting kind of the vibe from it. It almost feels like the opening act of a movie.
Yeah, it does. It's funny because I actually feel like there's not a whole lot to actually talk about with this episode because it is mostly right. Here's a premise. Here's where we are. He just is establishing the location and the tone.
I think what my biggest worry is kind of into it is going with the old and stuffy, just sitting around talking. I was worried even when there was just like people around the table talking. There was usually still. I mentioned the dinner scene had the going around the table and the 360 degrees. Later on, when they had another meeting, there was a lot of tension in the conversation because it was kind of like the crux, the decision, like that was going to either save them or doom them.
No, sure. I think that conversation suffered a little bit. I think it was some of the delivery just threw me. It almost made me chuckle because it was a bit just almost corny.
That's fair. I think that's actually kind of native to just like them all speaking all the time. Like, they're speaking in old dialect. Yeah.
It may very well be that. Which, if that's the case, it's unfair to hold it against it.
I think at one point Jared Harris says something like, "We'll be smashed to atoms."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just cheesy old. Like, now you never say that now. Like, no one would say that.
I'd hope not.
Maybe a really corny scientist who really loves his work.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, so and obviously Jared Harris is good because he's always good.
Yeah. And Kieran Hines, the other captain, I like him a lot as well.
Harris is rocking an Irish accent for this. That is notable because he does shift around a lot of accents.
He's very good at accents, isn't he?
Well, we got The Expanse coming back soon, and he's notable in that because he does a made up accent with complete perfection.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
I always say that about that show. It's amazing to me they actually nailed a fake accent. Like, they made up an accent for a new group of people, and it doesn't feel
it doesn't
tacky.
feel like it's tacky, and it's impressive that everyone is nailing the accent as well. Like, it's consistently, I go, yeah, that's that accent.
Yeah, it's really impressive that they did that. It's one of those little things that just makes it feel like a real world, or not world, solar system.
I feel like world was appropriate enough, but I get your sentiment.
Well, yeah, it's Earth, Mars, and then the Belt. We're dealing with 3 distinct locations.
Look, there is, but it's still a world, the world of the Expanse.
Wished. So no. No, I'm pretty positive. I think I was liking it more as it went on as well, because I think the more it went on, the more I was getting kind of the foreboding sense of dread that even if something doesn't come to kill them, the nature is going to do it for them.
Yeah, it does feel like it's just a matter of time, like the whole episode.
To be fair, we know it is to an extent because it opens with your sort of true story foreboding text of in 1845 they set out and they did this and the 2 ships disappeared, no one knew where they were, based on a true story, and then it went into the story. So it's telling us right now that these ships go missing and presumably everyone's going to die. I mean, they might not. Maybe we'll get like a little twist later on.
They might do. Yeah.
That someone did survive and is just kind of hiding or something. I don't know. But no. So that's the general premise. I think. Yeah, I'm down for more of this.
I am too.
I think this could end, because we know it's only 10 episodes. We know that if this does get a season 2, it's an anthology style show where it'll be a different story. So we know this is a contained 10 episode story.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that it's a definitive ending after 10 episodes, I think if this was something that was setting up to be years, I'd be like, oh, this is going to feel like it's dragging.
No, I agree.
Whereas right now I feel like, no, it's a slow burn, but it feels like an intentional slow burn for tension's sake, for mood, for...
It does. My one question is even now I'm like, okay, 10. That feels like maybe it's a lot for this, at this pace, if it continues, whereas I'd more expect 6 to 8. So I will be keeping an eye out for that as we go on.
Yeah, just to see if the pacing suffers at some point, if it feels like it's dragging its feet. But no, but to its credit, this first episode at the very least, it feels very focused in telling one part of the story. This is just this part. This is this key A to B story. This is this one.
It's a very well-rounded episode in that sense of, okay, no, this is the purpose of this episode is to set up the situation, set up these 2 characters, and then, a bit of the world around them. And it does a very good job in doing that. Yeah.
So we'll say spoilers now. I think we'll talk about spoilers. So full spoilers for episode 1 of The Terror. It's worth mentioning that episode 2 we'll have that review up tomorrow as well, because they're airing episode 2 tonight. So you can look forward to that. So the first 2 are sort of back to back here. But So I was really like I mean I don't know a whole lot about sailing in general, but I definitely don't know a whole lot about sailing in this type of condition, because I feel like I've seen a lot of sailing in movies before, but it's always just out in the ocean or
Sure.
whatever. So like when they were talking about the risk of like, well, the water's freezing quicker than we expect. This is dangerous to go this way, and he's like, if we get caught in the ice here, we're just going to be part of this floating ice, and we're going to be it's going to take us wherever it takes us,
Yeah.
and that's potentially going to be dangerous as shit.
Yeah, yeah, just well wherever you end up.
Yeah, and like that's why Jared Harris said, let's go this way. Let's get to safe harbor around here. This is much safer. Wait it out to spring, and then just do it. Then it's fine. We'll just wait. You know, we can restock. We can come back and we can do it. And this whole episode is about setting up the hubris of mainly Sir John, the captain, who seems like an otherwise reasonable guy. Like, you know, he's very respectful. Like, when the one, you know, crewman dies, he's like, no, let's pull over. Let's give him a funeral.
Yeah, a proper burial, not just dump him at sea. Like a
Yeah.
lot of them are like, why don't we just do that?
Yes, the guys digging the grave in particular are of that opinion.
Yeah.
But so it sets up a little bit. He's like, he loves the glory, because we get this little flashback to like they're at the theater, right? And there's a play, and at one point they actually have like a play on of these people, because they've already done like big expeditions and you know, in the Arctic and stuff, and we have some little joking things where Jared Harris's like portrayal, the actor playing him on stage, is like fat, and they're giving him like bad hair and teeth and stuff, and it's like, oh, like they turn me into the comic relief when he's not that at all. But we see like the other guys really love the glory. They love like the cheers and the clapping. They're there to be respected, and like Jared Harris doesn't even want to stand up. He's like, nah, it's whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, he only stands up because they basically drag him up.
Yeah, he takes his job very seriously, and like Sir John, of course, is much more respectful. His second in command, Fitz James, he's like, you know, that Francis, Jared Harris's character, yeah, he's an asshole. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, because they don't say that phrase, but he's an asshole. He's lost all the joy. He doesn't, you know, love this anymore, because he's not excited about the glory that they are. And he's like, yeah, well, he's a serious dude, and he's like, no, respect him, because if something happens to me, he's your captain. Like you have to follow his orders. You respect him. But it's all about hubris, because we're at this big meeting where they're deciding what to do about the ice in front of them, and Jared Harris makes his case: if this happens, this is going to happen, then we're doomed. This is what's going to do it. And because at one point Fitz James speaks up and he's like, hey, you've not been with us before on these expeditions. There's 5 people in this room that have. You're not one of them, right? So we have experience here, and he lays it all out. It's very collected. Here's the evidence to back it up, and you can tell when Sir John just sort of like, well, that's an interesting bit of speculation, but he just wants to believe that they can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's something to be said for that. You know, it's like, well, that's kind of how humans have done so much. You know, it's like, oh no, there's the belief that we can do it, so it got done somehow. Like, I don't know, getting to the moon. But, you know, there's a time and a place.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, I'm not disputing the goal of wanting to do it, but he has been told that this is almost guaranteed to cause it, you know, become a failure and to kill us all. And he's like, no, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be where we want to go in 2 weeks' time. And it cuts 6 days later, and all they're doing is trying to blow up the ice in front of them. And you're like, they're so screwed. And at the end of the episode, of course, is just seeing them trapped in the ice, and the camera's like this bird's eye view, and there's like no water around them. It's just ice.
They're literally just stuck in ice. Presumably, they're just moving with it now.
Yeah. So, because I was actually thinking that, like, is this whole season like going to be them like traveling and digging through ice? But no, seemingly now they're trapped. It's almost like they're trapped on like an isolated bit of land, almost.
Yeah, like I assume, all right, okay, let's get men out there, let's dig, let's clear a path, because you clear enough, the ship will propel itself forwards, right? That's what you got to do. But, I mean...
Well, there's a point where there's just too much of it, like...
Right, yeah, right. They're gonna be out there just hacking away at it, trying, because they're going to try something. But it's kind of ultimately fruitless, right?
Yeah, because I was actually thinking, see, now when they're trying to travel between ships, they'll just walk. They'll just get off and walk.
Yeah, they're pretty close to each other.
But I like this. I really like this setting. This is a really unique setting for like a horror story.
It is.
It is. And I don't think I expected the horror threat to be psychological as it was, because obviously the one hint we get is this guy, one of the crewmen gets sick, starts coughing up blood, and he's dying, like he's doomed. Yeah. And they're not really sure what it is. It's not scurvy, it's not this, it's not that. They do an autopsy. But as he's dying, he sees this figure, a person. in the room, and the person then has a mask on, but then when it cuts back, he has like the mask is like warped and it's like changed. It's just got this eerie feeling, and the whole time the medical assistant guy, good sir, that was it, good sir, that's his last name. He's like he can see that he's looking at something, but he can't see anything, and it's like, oh, I wonder if they're almost going to play it like it could be a real like entity, or it is just like the paranoia and the stress.
I imagine that'll be the first half of the season. That's what I would assume. It's like, no, they'll write it off. It's the stress getting to people. It's, okay, no, they're marooned out here. There's nothing they can do. They're cooped up in this ship. I imagine that'll get to people, right? And okay, they're going to play it off as that until maybe something makes the captain start to question that.
Yeah, I have to imagine as well. But we'll get some plot with them thinking one of them's a murderer. Like, okay, right, so someone's doing something, maybe.
Almost certainly, and maybe one of them actually is doing it, or maybe one of them's cracked.
Well, that'll be the thing. It'll be like, is this just, again? There's no real monster. It's made someone snap, and they're the monster.
Right.
Yeah, because I think when we first heard the announcement this was coming, and we read the description of the book, I was like, oh, this sounds like an actual, like, there's like a Predator-esque villain like stalking them, and that kind of thing. I'll tell you what I really liked when they get, because obviously there's like one guy like falls off the sails at one point, and like his back lands on the side of the ship, and then he like tumbles into the water and he dies. Like, and there's like a guy who's like saying, "Oh, let me go down and try and get him." And he's like, "No, he's already gone. He's frozen. He's drowned. He's dead. Like, don't go."
Yeah.
But later on, he's the one in the deep sea diving suit. At least I think he was. They look like the same sideburns. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of these guys look the same.
A lot of sideburns.
Yeah, a lot of sideburns in this show. But he goes down and he actually sees the floating body like in the water. I thought that was a really nice sort of, again, atmospheric moment. Just So no, I'm digging the atmosphere.
I was gonna say, I think it's interesting. Obviously, we look at the IMDb page for the names when we have a new show, and the description actually does say they discover instead a monstrous predator. So implying that there is something there in the description, but now I'm going, is that a red herring?
Yeah, is that them just like boiling it down to what you expect them to find when it will actually be more psychological?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'll be good with it either way. Part of me kind of wants to see what this monstrous predator is out in the ice, because I have to feel like it is otherworldly. That's how it's like surviving out here in the water.
It's very
and the
the
ice.
thing.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, basically, it's the thing, but on a couple of ships in 1840s. Yeah, I'm okay with that setting.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'll make that very clear.
The ships themselves have some character as well. Like they feel like you say unique settings.
Yeah. I think where they are is unique. The ships themselves kind of unique. I like the dichotomy of like we've got two ships. One's the Terror, one's the Erebus. Erebus is the sort of the flagship one, but it gets damaged at one point. That's why he's way down the water because he's getting some ice out of the propeller, and it's like, okay, now the Terror's going up first because like you have more power. Because now we can only go so fast. You can go faster.
You've got more smashing power to get through ice.
Yeah, and obviously it's all futile, but I like that. So no. I like it. I think even just the fact we have two ships is interesting. I feel like I've not seen that before, where it's two ships that are the setting.
No, I agree. It's slightly different because one ship, I go, okay, it's all one enclosed location, but two, it plays up different possibilities, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can almost imagine we're going to get a scene at one point where someone on the deck of one ship is going to see something in the distance on the other ship.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be the witness. They'll be looking through a telescope or something, and they'll see something on the sails or something.
Yeah, I think they're close enough that with a telescope you could see something.
Yeah, absolutely. But it'll be night, so they won't be sure. So much.
See it.
So much to go on. I think there's potential. Honestly, I think it's fair to say the biggest worry is 10 episodes. Is that too much for this?
Honestly, that is my biggest concern, because this is a slow episode, which, as I've said oftentimes, in a first episode isn't a problem, but it's if it maintains that it becomes a problem. If it doesn't,
well, no, but here's the thing.
No,
but here's the thing, though. You're saying this is slow as if it should speed up, and I don't necessarily think I agree with that. I think the pacing here is very intentionally slow, and it's working at this slow pace.
No, that's what I mean. I say it's good in a first episode, but if I'm still this slow at like episode 7, I'm going, okay, there needs to be a build at some point, right?
Well, no, but the build can still be like I think I don't necessarily agree with the idea that it has to speed up, because for me, like, there is a bit of ramping up. See, this was a movie, right? There would be a bit of ramping up maybe towards the end,
Right.
But the vast majority of it, I'd want to be consistent with its pacing.
Right. But it's that stuff at the end where I'm referring to, where okay, we're in the last couple of episodes. If it's still the same, there's going to be I have to feel a build at the end for me.
Oh, I'm not disputing you have to feel a build, but I think seven's maybe being a bit early for that.
Oh, okay, maybe. I'm ballparking.
I don't know. I feel like it will be a slow. It feels it's going to be slow paced, but
definitely.
At least so far, the episode was focused, which kind of comforts me a little bit that they know what they're doing with 10 episodes because it felt like it told a story from A to B.
Yeah.
The story clearly being the decision to ultimately make this choice that gets them in this trouble, but also setting up the hubris of Sir John and the fact that Francis was like against this idea.
I agree. I do hope every episode has such a focus to it. You know, at least at its core is okay. That's what this episode is. 'Cause, I feel like when it's this sort of show, 10 episodes, I think it's at its best when I can boil down each episode to okay, that's what that episode is. That's what makes that episode special.
And honestly,
that's what makes that episode what it is.
Arguably, dramatically, the best moment of this episode is when Sir John has like the heads of his ship. You know, these 4 or 5 like top, heads of the sectors, if you will. I don't know what the correct terms are necessarily. These officers, right? He's got them on deck. And he's like, okay, it's the morning. Wake up the men, and when you wake up the men, tell them, okay, this is stuff. This is what they signed up for, and all smiles and glory. But when he sends them all off, and they're all off to like again spread all. I don't want to say propaganda, but spread the good cheer so they don't get depressed that we're in shit creek. Like you can see in his face, like he knows that he's led them down this path, and that he's maybe made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you see Francis kind of reacting because he knows they're now stuck as well. But it's the perfect ending to the episode because it is like it's him like realizing, because I think there was a potential where they could have like went 4 episodes before they realized that he'd made a mistake. But
and it's now a case of right, how long till he owns up to it, if at all, or will he deny it and be like, no, we still made the right choice. We're fine.
He will save face. I mean, it depends. It depends if Francis confronts him about it, or if he just sort of like, okay, we're in this now. There's no point in arguing. There's no point in bringing it up.
I can see it going either way.
Yeah. But no, so the first episode was very focused. It tells a story, it tells a character story, and my hope would be that episode 2, episode 3 would all have some sort of focused arc in that sense within that. I have to imagine that we'll get some sort of first attack next episode.
I'd hope so.
I was just a guess. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to. They may have something else up the sleeve.
I say I hope so because I'm excited to see that side of things. Not that it absolutely has to.
Yeah, so no, I'm down. So Terra, potential, good atmosphere,
Definitely.
Good setting, good visuals. So no, good. Which is nice. I feel like every new show we've tried this year so far has been disappointing.
Yeah, there's been a couple where the first episodes have been all right, and then we've kind of gone off them though.
It's just dwindled and dwindled as it's went on.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen to this. I'd like it to improve.
Yeah.
I mean, I want all shows to improve, obviously. So.
Yeah. That's it. Even if it does, if it's just as good as this and maintains that throughout, this will still easily be better than any other new shows we tried this year.
Yeah, I was just going through them just to double check that there wasn't anything I'm forgetting new show wise. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, well, this is something I'm forgetting, but I don't feel like I am. So hey, that's something else we'll be covering for the next couple months as it airs. So that is the Terror. So by all means, let us know what you think of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, over at patreon.com/mailfuzztv, and you can do that. There's a link to that in the description. The reviews of this will be on the almost cancelled cable and TV reviews feed. If you want to find that, there'll be a link to that in the description as well. But here you go. So that is us. So thank you all once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?